I am the foster daughter raised in the palace by Her Majesty the Empress. The Emperor bestowed upon me the title of Lady of Qinghe. At 15, upon reaching my coming-of-age ceremony, Prince Xuan Zhaoheng asked me if I would be his consort. I smiled with allure and passion. In the eager gaze of the young man, I slowly uttered a few words. I do not wish to. Having already been Prince Xuan's consort once, how could I possibly repeat that mistake? On this auspicious day, the coming-of-age ceremony begins. Abandon your youthful aspirations, embrace your mature virtues. May longevity be your blessing, and auspicious fortune be yours. I bowed low to the ground, paying homage to the man seated upon the imperial throne. Only at that moment did I truly realize I had been reborn. I am Lady Qinghe, Cui Yiying, known as Xuan in childhood, the adopted daughter of Her Majesty the Empress. Within this imperial harem, there are over a dozen county ladies like me. These titles sounded grand, but they were merely tools for the consorts to vie for favor, women reserved for the emperor. After the elaborate hairpin presentation ceremony, I followed a palace maid from Cunning Palace to a side hall to change my attire. At the corner, someone suddenly darted out, startling the maid leading the way. This servant greets His Royal Highness Prince Xuan. Zhaoheng waved his hand, signaling the attendant to withdraw. Holding an exquisitely carved purple sandalwood box, he presented it to me as if offering a precious treasure. Xuan, I specially sought out this coming-of-age gift for you. Take a look and tell me if you like it. I did not take the box from his hand. Instead, I stepped back and performed a perfectly measured palace concubine's bow. Yiying greets Your Highness, Prince Xuan. Thank you for your kindness, but I must ask you to take this gift back. Zhaoheng seemed flustered by my sudden change. Just 2 days ago, I had beckoned him to attend my coming-of-age ceremony with a smile. Today, I was like a different person. You haven't even seen what it is, Xuan. I went to great lengths to find this. He stubbornly held the box, refusing to take it back. Whatever it is, it must be something very precious. I cannot accept it. The banquet is about to begin, and I must go and rearrange my hair. I cannot stay with Your Highness any longer. I tried to slip past Zhaoheng, but he grabbed my sleeve tightly. Turning back, I met his wounded expression and insistent gaze. Must I spell it out for Your Highness? Private exchanges are a grave taboo in the imperial harem. To you, it might be a trifle, but to me, it spells utter ruin. I can marry you, Xuan. I came to your coming-of-age ceremony today to ask you, Xuan, will you be my princess consort of Xuan? Zhaoheng gazed at me urgently, his eyes brimming with genuine affection, a truth undeniable across both lifetimes. In my previous life, I had joyfully accepted him. But this time, Zhaoheng, I no longer wish to marry you. Your Highness, I refuse. Zhaoheng stared at me in disbelief. Why? Have I done something wrong? Xuan, you clearly cherished me too. Yes, I did love him. Seeing his distraught expression still made my heart ache. But I cannot forget. I cannot forget the agony of losing my husband and child in the previous life, nor the torment of being consumed by flames. In that past life, I married Zhaoheng only after he knelt outside the Qinggan Palace for a full day and night. After all, as a formerly infeft county lady, I was already the emperor's woman in name. To remarry a prince as his primary wife would violate court etiquette. The emperor's face turned ashen with rage at Zhaoheng. He hurled the dragon-patterned paperweight, smashing it into Zhaoheng's forehead. Blood streamed down his face. No matter how the emperor punished him, Zhaoheng insisted on marrying me, even if it meant forfeiting his princely title and being demoted to commoner status. In the end, it was the empress who pleaded for mercy and proposed a solution that would not tarnish the imperial family's reputation, finally persuading the emperor to reluctantly agree. On the 15th day of the 7th month in the 11th year of the Yuanjia era, Lady Cui Yiying of Qinghe County, the county lady, passed away due to illness in the side hall of the Cunning Palace. On the 3rd day of the 8th month in the 11th year of the Yuanjia era, Prince Zhaoheng of Xuan celebrated his grand wedding. His principal consort was Lady Cui, the adopted daughter of the empress's maternal uncle. After our marriage, Zhaoheng treated me with extraordinary kindness. We were in perfect harmony, inseparable as glue and lacquer, truly days like those of divine lovers. He always put me first in everything. When I expressed a fondness for the pear blossom pastries from Shanghai in the eastern part of the city, he would personally journey there to fetch them even when heavy snow blocked the roads, refusing to send anyone else. Soon, I bore him a child, a son. On the day of the birth, I suffered a difficult labor. My cries echoed throughout the entire palace. Thanks to the midwife and imperial physician's efforts, the child was delivered safely, but I nearly lost my life. When I awoke, dazed and confused, I saw Zhao Heng holding my hand, his eyes brimming with tears. No more children. Never again. We'll cherish only this one child. In that moment, I knew I hadn't married the wrong man. After the child's full moon celebration, Zhao Heng carried him to the palace to present him to the emperor, who bestowed the name Pingchuan, Zhao Pingchuan. The emperor adored Xuan, often summoning Zhao Heng to bring him to the palace for audience. Returning in the evenings, father and son, one tall, one small, would sit before me, recounting amusing tales from the palace. Such days lasted only 15 years. All my happiness and joy came to an end in the harsh winter of the 26th year of the Yuanjia era. That winter was exceptionally cold. The witchcraft case erupted suddenly. The emperor ordered the arrest of Crown Prince Zhao Xing on charges of sorcery. To save himself, the crown prince secretly sought an audience with the empress. She commanded her personal guard, the Phoenix Feather Guards, to stage a palace coup. Working in concert with the crown prince, they pressured the emperor to purge the court of treacherous ministers. The emperor feigned agreement, but when the empress and crown prince lowered their guard, he swiftly had the dragon scale guard seize control of the situation. The emperor intended to hand the crown prince over to the treacherous ministers for interrogation. Unwilling to suffer humiliation, the crown prince publicly took his own life, while the empress hanged herself in the cunning palace. On New Year's Eve of the 16th year of the Yuanjia era, I still remember it snowing that day, a heavy, heavy snow. My Chuaner perished in that very blizzard. The night before New Year's Eve, Chuaner brought the crown prince's orphan son back to the Prince Xian's residence. My heart trembled with fear, urging Chuaner to send the child away. But he insisted, Uncle Crown Prince was wronged, mother. We cannot let his only heir be harmed by those treacherous villains. I knew Chuaner was right, but he forgot I was his mother. I must protect my own child too. Still, I couldn't stand firm against him. At his insistence, I agreed to let Zhao Pingying stay at the Xian prince's residence for one night. Early the next morning, Zhao Heng would arrange for him to be escorted out of the capital. Little did I know this would become the most regrettable decision of my past life. On New Year's Eve, before dawn, Zhao Heng arrived with a group of men clad in night attire, ready to escort Zhao Pingying out of the capital. Chuaner, unable to rest easy, disregarded my repeated pleas and went with his father. That entire day, my heart was heavy with worry. As I sewed clothes for Chuaner, I pricked my finger repeatedly with the needle. Staring at the tiny blood holes on my hand, a sudden, wrenching pain gripped my heart. Your Highness, it's terrible. Something has happened to the crown prince. The maid's figure drew nearer, yet her voice seemed to recede further from me. The world spun violently, and I collapsed unconscious. When I awoke, white lanterns hung throughout the Xian prince's residence. I did not weep, but tore frantically at the mourning banners. My Chuaner was not dead. How could they curse him like this? Wan, compose yourself. Chuaner is gone. Zhao Heng's words snapped me back to reality. I collapsed onto the floor, staring blankly at my surroundings. Tears suddenly streamed down my face. I wailed aloud, calling out Chuaner's name. He would never again answer me, mother. On New Year's Eve, while every household celebrated the coming year, Zhao Heng and I kept vigil over our son's body. I brought a basin of water, dampened a handkerchief, and lifted the white cloth covering Chuaner. Just as I had done when he was a child, I wiped his hands and face. After cleaning the blood from his face, I untied his sash, preparing to clean his body. My son. My son! The gaping holes in Chuaner's chest shattered my mother's heart completely. 1,000 arrows piercing his heart, how much pain my Chuaner must have endured. Zhao Heng, witnessing Chuaner's horrifying state, was overcome with fury. He rushed to the palace that very night, raging at the emperor for his incompetence and tyranny, for heeding the whispers of villains, driving the crown prince to death, and causing the demise of his own grandson. He accused the emperor of disregarding human bonds and being unworthy of the throne. The emperor, enraged, drew his sword to strike him down. Zhao Heng, utterly disillusioned with this biological father, threw himself against a pillar and died. When the news reached me from the palace, I had no tears left to shed. In a single night, I lost my son and my husband. That night, a vast fire engulfed the capital city, its brilliant flames nearly scorching half the sky. That fire from my memories still sears my soul. Watching Zhao Heng's distant, desolate figure fade away, I murmured to myself. Zhao Heng, it's not that we were destined to be apart, our destiny has simply run its course. After the coming-of-age ceremony, I did not see Zhao Heng again for a very long time. The Empress Dowager once asked me if I regretted not marrying Zhao Heng. In my previous life, she had asked me the same question. Back then, I firmly believed in the bond between Zhao Heng and me, that he would never betray me. Yet in the end, I still lost. Only, Zhao Heng remained faithful to me until his death. It was imperial power that caused my complete downfall. So in this life, I gave the Empress the same answer, no regrets. After my coming-of-age ceremony, the Empress began preparing to send me to the Emperor. A month later, the Empress arranged for me to attend the Emperor's bedchamber. After a matron from the eunuch bureau instructed me on the necessary etiquette, I was carried in a small sedan chair to Qinggan Palace. Dressed in a pale pink gauze robe, I sat composed upon a soft couch in the side chamber of Qinggan Palace, awaiting the Emperor's arrival. Outside the hall, the moon shone brightly amidst sparse stars, casting lonely shadows. Inside, layers of gauze veiled the scene, candlelight flickering faintly. The Emperor arrived well past midnight. Summoning my composure, I assisted him in changing his garments. His black imperial robes were extraordinarily intricate. It took considerable effort to peel the heavy outer robe from his shoulders. My hands slid down his collar, brushing his chest before resting on his sash. The jade buckle fastened in some intricate manner I couldn't decipher, and for a moment, I couldn't undo it. Suddenly, the world spun, and he swept me up in his arms. I was tossed onto the imperial bed. The Emperor looked down at me from above, his hands casually fiddling with the jade buckle. The golden-laid, jade-studded sash fell to the floor. Layers of curtains were drawn. Within the bedchamber, a faint fragrance lingered, filling the room with an alluring atmosphere. On the 3rd day of the 8th month in the 11th year of the Yuanjia era, the very day I had married Zhao Heng in my previous life, I was formally conferred the title of consort.I. The imperial edict arrived at Weiyang Palace, accompanied by the emperor's verbal decree. Consort.I Chui is hereby granted residence in Chongqing Palace. Chongqing Palace was the bedchamber of Zhao Heng's mother, Consort Jean. Your ladyship, what does His Majesty mean by this? Consort Jean surely knows of your relationship with Prince Xuan. Granting you residence in Chongqing Palace, isn't this like sending a lamb into the tiger's den? Xuan grumbled as she packed my belongings. What nonsense! How dare you presume to interpret the Emperor's intentions? Have you no regard for your life? Your Highness, I beg your pardon. I know I was wrong. Xuan was brought into the palace from the Chui family. She had been with me since childhood and was the only person I could truly trust within these palace walls. After all, her very life depended entirely on me. I gathered all the hairpins and jewelry Zhao Heng had given me into a single box and handed it to Xuan. Find someone trustworthy. No, you go yourself. Return these things to Prince Xuan. From now on, never mention him again. Never, anywhere. Over half a month had passed since moving to Chongqing Palace, yet I still hadn't seen Consort Jean. All this time, she had claimed illness and refused visitors, never even stepping outside the main gate of her chambers. I knew she didn't wish to see me. In truth, this was for the best, for her, for me, and for Zhao Heng. Ever since being elevated to the rank of consort, the Emperor had not summoned me to his bedchamber. I felt no urgency. My days were spent paying morning and evening respects at the Empress's palace, or staying in Chongqing Palace reading. I gradually devoured many of the classics, the Confucian canon, histories, philosophies, and anthologies that I had never encountered in my previous life, committing much to memory. The historical records tell of a witchcraft case during Emperor Wu of Han's reign, strikingly similar to the one that occurred in my previous life's dynasty. The outcome was the same, the crown prince took his own life, and the empress hanged herself. The witchcraft scandal of Emperor Wu's reign was a tragedy born of collusion between the imperial consorts and treacherous officials of the previous dynasty, who conspired to frame the crown prince. Compounded by the emperor's senile paranoia in his twilight years, it culminated in an utterly horrific tragedy. So what of the witchcraft calamity in our own dynasty? The events unfolded suddenly. From the outbreak of the witchcraft scandal to my self-immolation at the Prince Xian's residence, barely 10 days passed. The true cause remains unknown to me. Only from Zhao Heng did I learn that after the treacherous minister Xueli rushed into the palace, the emperor ordered a thorough investigation of the crown prince's residence. This was swiftly followed by the empress and crown prince attempting to force the emperor's hand. The crown prince perished, the empress hanged herself. Could mere words from one treacherous minister truly drive the mother of the nation and its heir to death? Since my rebirth, this question has haunted me. I refuse to believe no one in the imperial harem had a hand in it. But who ultimately profited from the deaths of the crown prince and empress? In my previous life, I died too soon to uncover the true mastermind behind it all. But now that I've been granted a second chance, I will not spare a single soul who directly or indirectly contributed to Xuan'er's demise. After 3 months of neglect, the emperor summoned me once more. As usual, I rode in a palanquin to the side hall of Qinggan Palace. By the time I arrived, the emperor had already changed into his night garments and was waiting on the bed. Attended by palace maids, I removed my hairpins and ornaments, changed into nightwear, and was guided onto the imperial bed. After our intimate encounter, the emperor did not order anyone to escort me back to Chongqing Palace. Maids brought warm water for me to wash again. After freshening up, I lay beside the emperor. Listening to his heavy breathing beside me, I clenched my fists. You and Heng'er were mutually enamored. Why did you suddenly choose to become this emperor's consort? This sudden question startled me, even though I had prepared an answer long ago. Because this humble consort admires your majesty. The emperor smiled. He sat up, pinched my chin, forcing me to look up at him. Do you truly believe I would accept such an explanation? Who exactly are you? My heart pounded like a drum. A tear welled in my reddened eye and spilled down my cheek. Your Majesty, I am but a woman. What impact could a mere woman possibly have before you? The emperor seemed satisfied with this answer. Leaning back against the headboard, he traced his fingertips across my cheek, as if admiring a precious artifact. You still haven't explained why you abandoned Heng'er to choose me. I am old enough to be your father. Marry Heng'er, and you'd be his legitimate consort, his rightful wife. He loves you and would grant you boundless honor. But as my woman, even as a consort, you'd remain merely a concubine. You could never surpass the empress. Cui Shi, why? 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 The emperor's relentless questioning felt like I'd been transported back to that day. Cradling Xuan'er's cold body, I had asked the same question over and over, why? No one answered me. Only the swirling snow silently buried all the guilt beneath it. I scrambled off the bed and knelt on the floor. Your Majesty, I dare not deceive you. The Prince of Xian and I did share youthful affection and promised marriage, but that was mere youthful folly, not to be taken seriously. Besides, Your Majesty is the ruler of the realm, a master of both civil and military affairs, embodying the ideals of governance and harmony. What woman could remain unmoved? I am but a woman. I pressed my face against the cold blue stone tiles, lifting my head slightly to gaze at the emperor leaning against the headboard. His eyes brimmed with amusement. I knew I had passed this test. The emperor was an exceedingly arrogant man, confident he could manipulate everything at his whim. A woman, after all, even one with ambition, was but a small creature, unable to escape his grasp. Rise. I am no tiger. What is there to fear? Slowly, I climbed from the floor, obediently climbing onto the imperial bed. I nestled into the emperor's embrace, letting him stroke the soft flesh of my waist, stroke by stroke. Your Majesty, it is late. It is time for rest. The eunuch attendant by the emperor's side murmured from outside the window. Retire for the night. A palace maid entered to extinguish the candles, then slipped out silently. Early the next morning, after attending to the emperor's ablutions and dressing him, and after he had taken his meal, he departed for court. I was escorted back to Chongqing Palace. Your Majesty, the medicine is ready. I massaged my throbbing temples and murmured, bring it in. A bowl of bitter herbal decoction was forced down my throat. The acrid taste made me grimace involuntarily. Seeing my discomfort, Xuan's eyes filled with concern. Your Majesty, how long must you endure this contraceptive medicine? I placed the bowl back on the tray. Xuan offered a small dish of pine nut candies. I picked one and popped it into my mouth, finally suppressing the bitterness. But what about the bitterness in my heart? What could suppress that? I don't know. Perhaps I'll have to drink it for the rest of my life. The Emperor had been summoning me to his bedchamber frequently lately, and the bitter taste of the potion made me want to vomit. Your Majesty, perhaps we should stop the medicine. It's far too cold in nature, doing your body more harm than good. I fear for your future health. Seeing me gagging repeatedly, Xuan couldn't help but speak up. I knew the medicine wasn't good either, but it was the best option for now. The medicine cannot be stopped, but it truly does harm my body. Go find Physician Chen and have him devise a milder formula, something less bitter. Physician Chen was a junior court physician in the Imperial Medical Academy, renowned for his family's expertise in gynecology. 2 months prior, he had prescribed a pregnancy-preserving formula for consort.I. Who could have foreseen that after taking it, consort.I would experience bleeding that very night? The Emperor flew into a rage upon hearing this and ordered Chen to be dragged away for punishment. Terrified out of his wits, Chen could only cry out his innocence. I pleaded with Her Majesty the Empress to have the prescription and medicinal residue examined. Both proved flawless. Where then lay the fault? Without finding the true culprit, Chen would inevitably become the scapegoat. The Empress ordered the Imperial Medical Bureau and Suiwei Palace, where consort.I resided, sealed off. Every person involved was interrogated. Finally, a young eunuch, unable to withstand the interrogation methods of the palace inspector, spilled the entire truth. It turned out that consort Su, who shared Suiwei Palace with consort.I, was consumed by jealousy over consort.I's favor and pregnancy. She bribed consort.I's personal eunuch with a large sum of money to slip a blood-activating and stasis-resolving drug into consort.I's food. Though the eunuch was greedy, he dared not actually harm the royal heir. Instead, the eunuch substituted the abortion-inducing medicine given by consort Su with a similar-looking tonic, which he added to her soup. By coincidence, after finishing her meal, consort.I drank the pregnancy-preserving medicine prescribed by Physician Chen. One ingredient in this medicine reacted with the tonic secretly added to her soup, causing her to miscarry. When the truth came to light, consort Su was demoted to the rank of consort Su and banished to the remote Suiwei Pavilion, effectively confined to a cold palace. Yet on the very next day after her relocation, palace maids discovered Lady Su drowned in the lotus pond of Suiwei Pavilion. As for consort.I, having lost her child, she earned the emperor's pity and was elevated to the rank of consort.I. As for that little eunuch whose clever scheme backfired, was never seen again within the palace walls. Imperial Physician Chen was overcome with gratitude toward me, swearing eternal loyalty. I merely smiled faintly and told him, no, you must always pledge allegiance to only one person, His Majesty. However, there are times when this consort also requires Imperial Physician Chen's assistance. Rest assured, consort. Wherever this humble servant can be of use, I shall serve you faithfully. That day, after seeing off Physician Chen, I reclined lazily on the imperial couch. From behind the screen emerged none other than consort.I, now consort.I Jiu, who was still recuperating after her recent miscarriage. Ming'er thanks you, sister, for saving my life. From now on, my life belongs to you. In truth, consort.I had known from the start that this child could not be saved. Her pregnancy had been fraught with hardship, she had bled as early as 3 months in, and it was only through relentless medication that she managed to carry to 6 months. The emperor placed immense importance on this pregnancy, for the chief astrologer had observed the heavens and declared this child to be the heaven-ordained heir, a beacon of fortune destined to grace the emperor's life. If this child could be born and raised safely to the age of 18, the emperor would receive divine protection, all his ailments would vanish, and the great Qin dynasty would enjoy bountiful harvests, peace, and prosperity. But if this child failed to be born, or died young, both the emperor and the great Qin dynasty would face heavenly retribution. As the emperor grew older, his belief in supernatural forces deepened. Should consort.I fail to protect this child, she herself might not survive. Thus, drawing upon memories from my past life, I devised this scheme with her. I sent Wei Jiyu numerous gifts in the emperor's name, stirring jealousy in Su Qiren, who shared quarters with her. This planted the seed for Su Qiren to poison Wei Jiyu. Even if Su Qiren hadn't conceived this plan herself, I would have found a way to manipulate those around Wei Jiyu into harming her. This move killed two birds with one stone. It ensnared both Physician Chen and Consort Wei, while ensuring Consort Su could never rise again. She was no innocent. In my previous life, Consort Su later attained the rank of imperial consort. When the witchcraft scandal erupted, she whispered slander into the emperor's ear, falsely accusing rival consorts of colluding with the crown prince. This led the emperor to slaughter the harem, claiming the lives of many consorts who had been my childhood friends. This lifetime, I suppose, I avenged them. Yet, in the dead of night, when dreams return, I feel I am no longer myself. Ultimately, that child died because of me. Even if his fate was sealed, he should not have perished by my scheming. Since losing Consort Wei's child, the emperor has been exceedingly volatile these past months. He has executed several court ministers in quick succession, and the harem is far from tranquil. Eunuchs and palace maids have been beaten to death one after another, and even the emperor's most favored consort Lu has faced his rebuke. For a time, both the front court and the harem were gripped by fear. Consorts took extra care during their nightly duties, dreading the slightest mistake might enrage the emperor and cost them their lives. Your Majesty has been staying at Qixia Palace frequently lately. I hear the imperial consort's maternal family presented a medicine called the red pill. Long-term use is said to not only extend life but also strengthen the body. I carefully trimmed the uneven branches, removing those weighed down by too many blooms. Such overloaded branches would bend under their own weight, and these flowers must be cut, otherwise, they would fail to bloom next year. His Majesty is 45 this year, isn't he? Older people tend to be particularly preoccupied with matters of life and death, and our emperor even more so. Is there any news from Physician Chen? Your Majesty, Physician Chen reports that Master Wang has agreed. He stands ready to brave fire and water for you at any moment. Fine words indeed. Had I not promised him the position of Grand Preceptor of the Great Qing Dynasty, would he have agreed to serve me? Tell Physician Chen to prepare. I shall find a way to summon Master Wang to the palace within days. Summoning the Celestial Master to the palace was for the future witchcraft case. In my previous life, the Astrological Bureau played a pivotal role in that case. Yet the Astrological Bureau served only the Emperor. Since I cannot control the Astrological Bureau, why not establish one that belongs to me? The Great Qing Dynasty once held the position of Imperial Preceptor. Since the previous preceptor's passing, no one had occupied that seat. The Imperial Preceptor and the Celestial Phenomena Bureau shared similar responsibilities, yet they represented two completely opposing factions, balancing each other. If I could secure Master Wang's appointment as Imperial Preceptor, my future actions would become far more convenient. As night fell, the Emperor arrived at Chongqing Palace accompanied by the chief eunuch. Your Majesty, may you be well. I knelt to pay my respects. The Emperor lifted me by the arm, and I took the opportunity to link my arm through his as we entered the bedchamber. Why has your Majesty found time to visit this humble servant today? What? Do you not welcome me? Not at all. I am overjoyed. Once inside the bedchamber, the Emperor sat upon the soft couch. I personally brewed tea and presented it before him. This is the newly tribute cloud mist tea. I've not tasted it since receiving it, saving it for your Majesty's arrival. Excellent. Cloud mist tea yields only one harvest every 2 years, truly rare. After quietly sipping a cup, the Emperor suddenly sighed, Inger, this place of yours is truly peaceful. Your Majesty, what troubles you? Nothing. Attend to my bedchamber now. I asked no further questions, instructing Xuan to light incense while I assisted the Emperor with his ablutions and changing of garments. The Emperor sat on the soft couch, his brow furrowed. I changed into my nightgown and sat beside him. Your Majesty, why the troubled look? If something troubles you, perhaps I might offer some comfort. The Emperor gently tickled my nose with his finger, then took my hand and pulled me to sit beside him. You? What could you possibly do? Just massage this old man. My head has been pounding terribly lately. The emperor reclined across my lap. I had Xuan fetch fragrant balm to rub onto my hands. After warming them between my palms, I gently massaged his temples. My touch was neither too light nor too heavy, and the creases between his brows gradually smoothed out. Your Majesty, you're still thinking about consort.I's unborn child. That child was a blessing for the great Qing dynasty. Ever since his untimely death, I've felt restless. Xuan brought over a warm, scented cloth. I folded it and gently placed it over the emperor's closed eyes. Speaking of that child, Your Majesty, I recall something. These past nights, I've been plagued by nightmares. I dream of an infant wearing a red undershirt, sitting at the gate of Chongqing Palace, weeping. When I ask why he cries, he gives no answer, only weeps. His sorrow pierces my heart. At my words, the emperor tore the cloth from his eyes, sat up abruptly, and gripped my shoulders tightly with both hands, his voice icy. Is this true? How could I deceive Your Majesty? These past days, I too have been restless. I was considering requesting the chief astrologer of the Celestial Phenomena Bureau to divine the meaning of this. But what? The emperor's gaze fell upon me, tangible and heavy, making my heart tremble. Steeling myself, I continued. But the moment I entertained that thought, I dreamed of that infant again that very night. His face was terrifying as he glared at me, looking intensely angry. So I abandoned the idea. The day before yesterday, Physician Chen came to check my pulse. He said I suffer from deficiency in both heart and spleen, with a weak spirit and timid nerves. He also gave me a prescription. The emperor fell silent in deep thought. I discreetly signaled to Xuan, who promptly fetched the prescription. I presented it to the emperor. The formula itself was unremarkable, a standard remedy for heart palpitations and restlessness, but stamped in the lower right corner was the seal of the celestial Master Wang. After scrutinizing the prescription thoroughly, the emperor tucked it away. He turned to me, who stood trembling with fear, and suddenly broke into a smile. What are you afraid of? Why do you always look so startled? You resemble a frightened little rabbit. He beckoned me with a wave of his hand. I obediently nestled into his embrace. Your Majesty is my heaven. I am but a reed clinging to you. Before such majesty, fear is only natural. Inger, you need not fear me anymore. I am not only your heaven, but also your man. I will protect you. Listening to the not-so-robust heartbeat within his chest, I let a smile curve my lips where he couldn't see. Your servant believes in Your Majesty. Rest well. I had assumed the emperor would at least conduct further verification before summoning Master Wang. Yet, the very next day after taking the prescription from me, he summoned Master Wang into the palace. The emperor and Master Wang conversed for 2 full hours in the Celestial Luck Pavilion. Upon exiting, His Majesty immediately issued an edict, conferring upon Master Wang the title of Grand Preceptor of the Great Prosperity Kingdom. Your Majesty, how did you know the emperor would certainly appoint Master Wang as preceptor? Master Wang is a man of considerable ability. Even without my intervention, he would eventually shine brightly enough for His Majesty to notice. Add to that His Majesty's growing fervor for matters of spirits and deities lately, and it was only natural. I merely helped Master Wang ascend to the position he deserved sooner, so he might owe me a personal favor. And His Majesty? Did he stay at Qixia Palace again tonight? Xuan took the comb from the young palace maid and began gently untangling my loose hair. Consort Lu and Lady Lu always target us in Chongqing Palace. Consort Jean is often ill, and His Majesty hasn't visited lately either. Slap her face. Where His Majesty chooses to go is His Majesty's affair. What business is it of yours? Your Highness, please don't be angry. This servant knows she was wrong. Xuan hastily knelt to beg forgiveness. I froze for a moment before ordering her to rise. Leave. I wish to be alone. Gazing at my reflection in the bronze mirror, I felt increasingly unable to see clearly. What kind of person was Cui Ying in my past life? And what kind is she in this one? In any case, she is not like this now. Not like the current Cui Ying. Over the next few years, I served the emperor with utmost caution, striving to keep a low profile. Yet within the imperial harem, open hostility and hidden schemes were everywhere, impossible to guard against completely. Sometimes, even if you avoid trouble, you cannot live a peaceful life. I dodged several plots and schemes, and I plotted against others myself. I lost some battles and won others. At first, I still felt a twinge of reluctance, haunted by nightmares. But later, perhaps seeing it all too often, my heart grew harder. Even watching someone die before my eyes left me unmoved. I'd merely sigh at the brevity of their life and fortune, then sleep soundly through the night. On the 18th day of the 3rd month in the 14th year of the Yuan Jia era, I was formally appointed as consort.I. In the imperial harem of the Great Qing dynasty, a consort without an heir could only reach the rank of consort.I. It was the ultimate limit. To advance further, one must bear a child. But I refused to give the emperor an heir. Beyond Xuan, I wanted no other child. All these years, I've been investigating who colluded with Xuan, the chief of the Astronomical Bureau, in my previous life. But too much time has passed since the witchcraft case unfolded then. There are no leads yet. Perhaps that person hasn't partnered with Xuan, perhaps they haven't formed that intention, perhaps they haven't entered the palace yet. In short, not a single clue. All I can do now is seize every opportunity to climb higher. Only then, from a position of power, can I access greater secrets and earn the standing to confront the mastermind behind the witchcraft case. By August, torrential rains battered the Two Rivers region. Floodwaters breached the riverbanks, destroying vast tracts of fertile land and leaving countless people displaced. The emperor had been deeply troubled by this situation. Years of warfare against the Eastern I and Northern D tribes had drained the imperial treasury. The imperial treasury had been running on deficit. Last year, capitalizing on internal strife among the Eastern I, Grand Marshal Xuan delivered a crushing defeat. Deprived of this powerful ally, the Northern D could no longer withstand the might of the Great Qing army. Several vassal states of the Northern D swiftly defected to the Great Qing. This forced the two formidable enemies to seek peace negotiations, ceding territory, paying reparations, and offering princesses in tribute, finally bringing the war to an end. Yet barely 2 years into the Great Qing dynasty's period of recuperation, such a natural disaster struck. With the treasury depleted, where could such vast sums for disaster relief be raised in such a short time? Distraught by the devastation, the emperor lost his appetite and sleep, his hair turning white in patches. Undeniably, at this moment, he was a wise ruler. I cannot fathom why, just over a decade later, he would transform into such an obstinate, cold-hearted tyrant. Was it truly merely senility that clouded his judgment? I instructed the kitchen to prepare a bowl of lily bulb and lotus seed soup. After it was cooked, I added a pinch of sugar myself. This could count as my own handiwork. That's how the consorts in the harem did it. Xuan carried the food box as she followed me to Qingqian Palace. After the eunuch at the gate announced our arrival, I waited quietly outside the palace entrance until summoned inside. Only then did I take the food box from Xuan and follow the eunuch into Qingqian Palace. Your humble servant greets His Majesty. May the Emperor enjoy 10,000 years of blessings, prosperity, and golden health. Rise. Why have you come? Your servant heard that Your Majesty has scarcely eaten lately. How can your body endure this? I stepped forward with the food box and handed it to the attendant eunuch beside me. Your servant specially prepared a cooling lily and lotus seed porridge. May Your Majesty partake to clear the heat. The chief eunuch opened the box, lifting out the bowl of lotus seed and lily soup. Immediately, an attendant stepped forward to test it with a silver needle. Seeing no discoloration, he used a special silver spoon to scoop a small portion for another attendant to taste. After 15 minutes passed without incident, the soup was finally presented to the emperor. Inger, you've been thoughtful. The sweet, cooling lotus seed porridge touched his lips, and the emperor's furrowed brow eased slightly. A glance from the head eunuch signaled, and a young attendant promptly brought a cloth warmed in hot water. After wiping my hands, I approached the emperor and began massaging his shoulders. Your Majesty, are you still troubled by the floods in the Two Rivers? The emperor set down his spoon, leaned back in his chair, and exhaled a long breath. He took my hand and pulled me to sit upon his lap. The treasury is empty. We cannot even spare 200,000 taels for disaster relief. The Crown Prince suggested that court ministers contribute funds to cover the emergency, essentially a loan from the court to its officials, to be repaid when the treasury is replenished. Humph. Each of these men claims to be as poor as church mice, living in poverty with families dependent on their salaries. Some even say they have no rice to cook, waiting for their pay. Those who live nearby still hire palanquins for daily court attendance. Do you think I don't know their circumstances? Do they really think I'm a fool? The emperor slammed his teacup in anger. A young eunuch hurried to clean up the mess. I clutched my chest, feigning fright. The emperor gently patted my back to soothe me. Your Majesty, I have a suggestion for raising disaster relief funds. The emperor responded casually, Oh? Let's hear it. Leaning against the emperor's embrace, I wrapped my arms around his neck and spoke softly. The wealthy families in the capital all enjoy opera, including the families of court officials. I've heard that in Yunzhou there is a troupe whose scripts are exquisitely crafted and highly praised by the people of Yunzhou and the surrounding provinces. It's a pity this troupe only performs in Yunzhou. Many opera lovers in the capital regret not being in Yunzhou to enjoy their performances. Since this troupe is so popular, Your Majesty, why not summon them to the capital for a few days of grand performances? We could provide the venue, sell seats, set prices per box, assign silver per front row seat, and set prices for the back rows. Any tips given during the performance would go to the troupe. They're investing both money and effort, after all. As for the proceeds from seat sales, they could be sent as disaster relief funds to the affected areas. This would also allow Your Majesty to see just how deep the pockets of the ministers in court truly run. The emperor's eyes lit up, but then his brow furrowed. What if these officials refused to let their families attend the performances? I reached out to smooth the crease between his brows. As my fingers lifted, they brushed his lips, and he seized my hand. Your Majesty, the Chancellor of the previous dynasty was known for his incorruptibility. No bribes or illicit gains dared cross his threshold. Yet he had a son who bullied men and oppressed women, running rampant without restraint. Whenever the Chancellor sought to discipline the son, his wife would block him, threatening suicide. A doting mother often spoils her child, and the Chancellor had no choice but to let things slide. Ultimately, this son caused a catastrophe too great to resolve. The Chancellor had no choice but to resign his post, donate all his wealth, and sacrifice his fortune to save his son's life. If rulers could manage their own households properly, there would be no idle nobles running amok in the streets. A smile finally graced the emperor's face. He gently stroked the back of my hand and chuckled, quite right. If they could manage their own households, the capital wouldn't be filled with so many idle sons of nobility chasing dogs and birds. Your idea is most excellent, Inger. If you truly resolve the disaster relief funds matter, I shall award you the foremost credit. Your Majesty, whether it's top credit or not, it means little to this humble servant. It would be far more meaningful if Your Majesty would simply cherish this humble servant a little more. Have I not cherished you enough? Tell me, Inger, how else might I show you my affection? A hearty smile spread across the emperor's face, yet his jet-black eyes remained unfathomably deep. Your servant hasn't decided yet. Your Majesty may owe me for now. Very well. Then I owe Inger a promise. But let it be clear, it must not concern state affairs. Your Majesty may rest assured. Your servant understands. The harem must not meddle in governance. I would never place Your Majesty in a difficult position. The emperor immediately dispatched a trusted aide to Yunzhou with the task of securing the troupe. Within 3 days, the entire troupe, along with all their equipment, arrived in the capital. The grand performance ran for 7 full days and nights. To everyone's surprise, it raised a staggering 200,000 taels of silver. They had expected perhaps a few tens of thousands at most, but this far exceeded their wildest hopes. It later emerged that enthusiasts from neighboring prefectures, not just the capital, had flocked to the performances. The turnout was so overwhelming that tickets were nearly impossible to obtain. Moreover, the troupe's leader proved to be a sensible man. He donated the majority of his imperial rewards to disaster relief efforts. Upon hearing this, the emperor was greatly pleased. He personally bestowed upon the troupe the honorary title of Loyal and Righteous Troupe and rewarded them with a batch of imperial-made theatrical costumes. The court officials, however, who had spent money and lost face, were reportedly scolded by the emperor during court. Every one of you cried poverty to this emperor, yet when it came to patronizing the troupe and supporting the actors, suddenly you all had money. The court fell deathly silent. Save for a handful of truly upright ministers, few dared to defend themselves. The relief funds were personally escorted to the disaster zone by the Crown Prince and Prince of Anyang. The emperor feared that if entrusted to officials, the money would be siphoned off at every prefectural level, leaving little for the people. Before the Crown Prince and Prince of Anyang set out, the imperial consorts, led by Her Majesty the Empress, also donated a collection of jewels and ornaments. Consort Lu proposed cutting the harem's expenses by having each palace's allowance to support the disaster area. The emperor approved this proposal. Seizing this opportunity, I had Grand Master Wang submit a memorial to the emperor, stating that the torrential rains in the Two Rivers region were heaven's punishment for the untimely demise of the Star of Prosperity. To seek heaven's forgiveness, the palace must release a number of people. Persuaded by my counsel, Her Majesty the Empress took the lead in responding to this suggestion. She petitioned the emperor, "Your Majesty, the imperial harem houses numerous adopted daughters. Most were separated from their parents and loved ones at a young age, raised within the secluded palace walls. This truly violates the natural order of family bonds. Would it not be fitting to release all the adopted daughters of the concubines, along with those who have resided in the palace for over 15 years? Only then might we move heaven's compassion." The emperor granted the empress's request and issued an imperial decree. Setting an example, the empress sent all 3 of her own foster daughters out of the palace. Though the other consorts were reluctant, after all, these girls were their means of vying for favor, they had no choice but to send their foster daughters away as well. Among them was Consort Lu's other niece, Lady Yuehua, Lu Lingyin. Lu Lingyin possessed extraordinary beauty. Had she been presented to the emperor, she would surely have been showered with favor and honor. Alas, Lu Lingyin was only 13, not yet of age for the Ji ceremony, and thus ineligible to become the emperor's consort. She could only be taken back to the Lu family. It was said that night, Consort Lu flew into a terrible rage, smashing many precious objects in her bedchamber. As for why I urged the empress to send these foster daughters away from the palace, it was partly because I could not bear to see their prime years wasted away within these palace walls. The other reason was that I could not allow Lu Lingyin to receive imperial favor. In my previous life, Lu Lingyin passed away before the witchcraft scandal erupted, yet even during her lifetime, she had stirred up a storm of bloodshed and turmoil within the harem. After being elevated to consort, Lu Lingyin enjoyed the emperor's exclusive favor. At the height of her influence, even Her Majesty the Empress had to yield to her prominence. Lu Lingyin monopolized the emperor, forbidding him from visiting any other consorts, not even her aunt, the noble consort Lu. The emperor, utterly captivated, nearly deposed the crown prince to install her son instead. Had her son not been frail and died young, the crown prince might have survived until the witchcraft scandal. Later, Lu Lingyin passed away prematurely from excessive worry. Consumed by grief, the emperor lost his senses and committed many reckless acts. During that period, numerous palace attendants perished, including the consorts and their foster daughters. To prevent such tragedies, it was best to send her away early. However, Consort Lu somehow learned that I had suggested to Her Majesty the Empress that all foster daughters be sent away, and she came to hate me intensely. She and her niece, Lu Fanyin, not only caused me trouble constantly, but even in the imperial court, the Lu family openly attacked the Chui clan without restraint. The Chui clan of Qinghe is one of the ancient noble families of the Great Qing dynasty, with deep-rooted heritage and extensive connections. The Lu family, relying solely on Consort Lu, has become a new power in the court, naturally lacking the Chui clan's profound foundations. Though the Lu family hasn't caused the Chui clan any substantial harm, their constant petty maneuvers are truly vexing. When mother entered the palace, she conveyed father's words, instructing me not to provoke any further disputes with Consort Lu. Father seems to have forgotten that sometimes, trouble finds you even if you don't seek it out. Better to strike first. I've grown weary of the consort's schemes, whether venting her frustrations on the palace attendants of Chongqing Palace or withholding the palace's allotted provisions. Even the gentle consort Jean has been caught in the crossfire, which weighs heavily on my conscience. Yesterday, the noble consort summoned me again to Qixia Palace to copy sutras. After returning, I had Xuan prepare cold water for a bath. The windows of my bedchamber remained open all night. This morning, I awoke with a pounding headache and aching limbs. I forced down a few sips of congee, chewed a slice of ginseng, and had Xuan support me to Qixia Palace. The noble consort hadn't risen yet, so I had to wait outside Qixia Palace's gates. After standing for half an hour, my discomfort grew worse. Xuan asked the eunuch at the gate if I could rest inside. The eunuch went to announce my arrival but soon returned, hesitating. "Lady Cui, please wait here a little longer. The noble consort will be rising shortly." Xuan's eyes turned red with frustration. "My mistress is nearly fainting. Can't you make an exception?" I squeezed Xuan's hand weakly. "Xuan, don't press him. He's just a lowly eunuch, with no authority to decide." "I'll wait a little longer." The eunuch looked at me gratefully. I tried to smile at him, to tell him not to mind Xiaoyao's words, but I could no longer hold on. I fainted. Before losing consciousness, I saw a figure clad in dark robes running towards me. This was all part of my plan. Master Wang's divination revealed the emperor should avoid passing by the Tay pool during court sessions these days. The emperor trusted Master Wang implicitly lately. Since the master advised against it, the route was changed. The closest path to the Hall of Diligent Government was the one near the Imperial Garden, and this route happened to pass by the gates of Qixia Palace. Consort Lu was confined to her quarters. Only then did I learn I had been carrying a child. But after all the turmoil these past days, the child was lost. The emperor laid all the blame squarely on Consort Lu. But how could I have conceived when I'd been drinking the contraceptive potion all along? Could the imperial physician have misdiagnosed me? My head felt as if it would split open, making clear thought impossible. I could only lie down and rest for a short while. That evening, the emperor came to see me once. I was in a drowsy slumber, so he went to see Consort Jean instead. It wasn't until the next day that I fully regained consciousness. I asked Xiao who the physician was who had examined me that day. "Your Highness, it was Physician Qian, the left judge of the Imperial Medical Bureau." "Dr. Qian? Hasn't Dr. Qian always taken my pulse? Why the change?" I struggled to sit up, and Xuan promptly brought a soft pillow to support my back. "This servant doesn't know either, Your Highness." The emperor requested Dr. Qian. Dr. Qian had already arrived at Changqing Palace but was sent away by the emperor's personal steward. "This Dr. Qian, I've never heard of him before." I just inquired, "Your Highness." Dr. Qian only takes the emperor's pulse to ensure his well-being. He never attends to the consorts in the harem, not even the empress could summon him. "Your Highness, the emperor clearly holds you in high regard." "Is that so?" "I don't see it that way. What could the emperor possibly be aiming for? Merely confining Consort Lu?" "Oh, Your Highness, I also heard His Majesty flew into a terrible rage in court today. He berated the Duke of Qing for failing to raise his daughter properly, allowing her to run amok in the harem and harm the imperial offspring. He ordered the Duke to return home for reflection and deep self-examination. The Duke of Qing is Consort Lu's father. With the court and the harem so intertwined, what game is the emperor really playing? Soon enough, I would learn the truth. A month after my miscarriage, the Duke of Chang's estate was suddenly raided. All males over 14 were beheaded publicly, those under 14 were exiled to Lingnan for forced labor, while the women were consigned to the Imperial Music Bureau as a warning to others. The reason for the Duke of Chang's clan being wiped out? The Grand Tutor Liu, dissatisfied with the emperor's punishment, had colluded with the eastern barbarians, plotting to overthrow the great Qing dynasty. The emperor declared the evidence irrefutable, impossible to fabricate. Whether it was true or not, only the emperor knew. After learning of the Qingwu Duke's clan extermination, Consort Lu sang betraying Spring's Grace all night in Qixia Palace. The next day, eunuchs delivering imperial decrees discovered her hanging from the main hall's crossbeam. The emperor fell gravely ill afterward. I could scarcely discern whether he truly loved Consort Lu. Once showered with boundless favor, she was cast aside like a worn-out shoe in the blink of an eye. After this upheaval, certain things suddenly occurred to me. I had no child, yet the imperial physician, the emperor's own personal physician, diagnosed me with a miscarriage. It was all to frame the consort and strike at her maternal family. And what of the witchcraft case? At that time, General He had passed away, and the He family had lost its utility. Yet their influence remained formidable. Once the crown prince ascended the throne, they would inevitably become the most powerful imperial in-laws in the dynasty. A chill crept up my spine, sending shivers down my back. It felt as though a sharp blade hung suspended over my head. If the He family could meet such an end, what would become of me if I allowed the Chui clan to grow unchecked? Might they become the next He family? Would I share the same fate as Empress He, Consort Lu, and those other concubines who died under mysterious circumstances? After Consort Lu's passing, her niece, Consort Hui Lu Fanyin, requested to guard her ancestors' tombs at the imperial mausoleum. The emperor granted her wish. Before leaving the palace, Lu Fanyin came to see me. Chui Yiying, I never liked you from the start. You crave power and influence, yet you put on this pretentious act of nobility. I didn't argue with her. If this had been 2 years ago, I would have fought back. But now, her words held a grain of truth. Do you know why my aunt lost? Consort Lu was arrogant and tyrannical. She brought her own downfall. Lu Fanyin, clad in plain white robes, sneered coldly. You're wrong. My aunt lost because she loved His Majesty too much. She believed he cherished her deeply, unaware that our emperor is stubborn, self-willed, cold-blooded, and heartless. The only one he ever loved was himself. Lu Fanyin stared at the embroidery on her sleeve, tears falling one by one, staining the fabric with a spreading wet patch. I warned father and auntie. The Lu family had been too prominent these past years, and with auntie bearing 2 imperial sons, His Majesty likely grew wary of us long ago. But not a single one of them listened. I foresaw this day long ago. At least His Majesty didn't exterminate us completely. Why are you telling me this? I looked at Lu Fanyin in confusion. She gave a bitter laugh. We've never gotten along since childhood, and there's no affection between us. Now that I'm leaving, we may never meet again in this lifetime. As I depart the palace soon and cannot see Her Majesty the Empress, I implore you to warn her, just as the Emperor treats the Lu family thus today, he will not spare the He family in the future. I beg Her Majesty to prepare accordingly. Consider this my repayment for her kindness in gathering my aunt's remains and giving her a proper burial. After Lu Fanyin departed, I immediately sought an audience with Her Majesty the Empress. Unexpectedly, I encountered Prince Xuan, who had come to pay his respects. After so many years, I saw Zhao Heng once more. Greetings, Consort Chui. I stared blankly at the man before me. He had grown much thinner and appeared deeply haggard. Your Highness, please rise. The Empress smiled as she took my hand and led me into the hall. We were just speaking of you, Prince Xuan, when you arrived. What did Your Majesty and Prince Xuan say about this humble servant? We were reminiscing about your childhood. You entered the palace at 4, raised by my side. Consort Jean was frail, so Prince Xuan was also sent here. Then there was Princess Liang of Consort Li, Princess Zhanghua of Consort Chen, and later the 8th Prince of Consort Shui. A whole brood of children followed the crown prince, running wild all day in Weiyang Palace. Those were truly lively times. I sat in the chair below Her Majesty the Empress. Palace maids served tea, and Zhao Heng sat opposite me. Her Majesty the Empress sighed, now, you've all grown up. The crown prince is consumed by his duties. Prince Xuan rarely visits the palace since establishing his own residence. You, as the emperor's consort Chui, must constantly attend to His Majesty. Princess Luyang was married off to Nanyue as part of a peace alliance, while Princess Zhanghua, a beauty of ill fortune, passed away young. My quarters have grown much quieter. Only the 8th prince, who hasn't yet established his own residence, occasionally comes to see me. I smiled and said, Your Majesty, that's not fair. I often come to see you too. The Empress's gentle gaze fell upon me. After a moment, she shook her head softly, her tone thick with regret. It's different now, Yiying. All these years, I've kept wondering, was it right or wrong to send you to His Majesty back then? Zhao Heng's hand trembled as he held the teacup, spilling a little of the liquid. He drank the still hot tea in silence. Mother, I wish to visit my mother. Go. You've rarely entered the palace these past 2 years. It's been a long time since you've seen your mother. Thank you for your understanding, mother. I shall take my leave now. I stared at Zhao Heng's retreating figure, lost in thought for a long while, until Her Majesty the Empress called out to snap me back to reality. Ying, you came to see me. Is there something on your mind? Yes, Your Majesty. I recounted to the Empress everything Lu Fanning had said to me before leaving the palace. She said nothing, only let out a long sigh. His Majesty's actions these past years have grown increasingly bewildering. Your Majesty, I believe the Emperor knows exactly what he is doing. The Empress rose and walked to the window, gazing thoughtfully at a persimmon tree outside. I dared not disturb her, remaining seated quietly, waiting for her to speak. Your Majesty and I were married in our youth. I have walked through blood and storms alongside him. I know what he fears. A powerful and influential imperial in-law family, if controlled, they are a blade in the emperor's hand, if not, they become a cancer within the dynasty. What if one day, Your Majesty truly decides to act against the He family, against the crown prince, and against you? Should that day come, should the He family truly harbor unwarranted ambitions, I would not spare them even without His Majesty's hand. But if His Majesty were to target the crown prince or the He family without cause, I would never sit idly by and await my doom. I know, Your Majesty. In your previous life, you acted thus, preferring to shatter like jade rather than be shattered like common tiles. I approached Her Majesty the Empress, slowly kneeling before her, gazing up at this woman who appeared delicate yet possessed a spirit unmatched by any man in this world. Your Majesty, I beg of you one thing. Should that day truly come, I implore you to protect your own life and that of the crown prince. Only in life lies hope, death leaves nothing. Your Majesty, Ying begs you. Her Majesty stared at me in stunned silence for a long moment. Then, her hand trembling, she reached out and wiped the tears from my face. Foolish girl, she murmured. I promise you. After leaving the Palace of Eternal Peace, I took Xuan to Rainflower Terrace to watch the sunset. I didn't want to return to the Palace of Everlasting Prosperity so soon. Zhao Heng should still be there at this hour. First, to avoid suspicion. Second, I didn't know what to say if I saw him. What could I possibly say? That I had unspoken sorrows? Should I tell him about those painful memories? Could he accept them? It was enough that I alone carried the memories of my past life. Yuwatai was secluded, seldom visited, making it a perfect spot for sunset viewing. I had Xuan wait at the entrance and entered alone. Sitting on the green stone by the water, I felt the gentle breeze and waited for the sun to set. When you were little and felt sad, you always ran to Yuwatai. I never thought after all these years, that habit would still remain. The voice behind me startled me. Turning, I saw Zhao Heng standing in the breeze, his wide sleeves billowing to reveal his slender frame. Why are you here? I scrambled to my feet, accidentally catching my skirt hem and nearly stumbling. Zhao Heng grabbed my arm, steadying me. I wanted to see you, Zhao Heng said simply. These past 3 years, I've longed to see you. But my mother forbade me from paying respects at Chongqing Palace, she wouldn't even let me enter the palace grounds. I turned my face away, unable to meet Zhao Heng's eyes. Consort Jean acted for your own good. He gave a self-deprecating smile, I know that, but I can't accept it. I refused to accept that our years of affection could be severed by a flippant destiny brought us together, but fate kept us apart. My heart ached with sorrow and guilt, yet all I could do was repeat I'm sorry over and over. It's me. Who owes you an apology? I never understood why you changed until yesterday. Now I see the truth, Wan. I'm the one who owes you an apology, for making you bear all this alone. I stared at Zhao Heng in surprise. Your Highness, what are you saying? Zhao Heng gazed at me with deep affection, his eyes brimming with tears. He gently tucked a stray lock of my hair behind my ear. Nothing. I just wanted to look at you properly. I didn't get the chance before. Right up until the end, I regretted not seeing you clearly. Hearing these words, my heart skipped a beat. I stared at Zhao Heng in disbelief. Is it you? Zhao Heng? Have you come back too? Suddenly, Zhao Heng pulled me into a tight embrace, his strength so intense it felt like he wanted to crush me, to melt me into his very bones. I don't know, Wan. I don't know. I had a dream. I dreamed of you. I dreamed of Xuan. Tears welled up instantly, carrying the bitterness in my heart with them. I wanted to cry out loud, but I couldn't. Only silent tears flowed, accompanied by wordless heartache. Mother Empress wishes to see you. Zhao Heng and I went together to the bedchamber of consort Jean. She lay reclined on her couch. Seeing us enter one after the other, she waved her hand. The maidservant attending her immediately withdrew, closing the door behind her. Henger, you were too impulsive. This palace is full of watchful eyes. Every word and deed must be handled with utmost caution. Had it not been for my people keeping watch near the Rainflower Terrace today, given the nature of your actions, if someone had stumbled upon you too, well, you know what the consequences would have been. Zhao Heng knelt before consort Jean, sincerely admitting his fault. Mother, your son knows he was wrong. Consort Jean spoke with deep concern. Henger, I know your heart is heavy, but you must also think of Wan. You cannot let her hard work go to waste. In that moment, it felt like a lifetime had passed. It had been so long since I'd heard consort Jean call me Wan. Wan, come here. I obeyed and approached Her Imperial Highness. She took my hand and guided me to sit beside her. Henger, you've told me everything. The matter of rebirth is profound and mysterious. At first, I didn't believe it, but then I suddenly recalled an event from 3 years ago. You may not know this, but before entering the palace, I studied divination with a Taoist master.
Though I cannot claim mastery, my predictions have never been wrong. 3 years ago, a star of blinding brilliance suddenly appeared beside the purple star. In its radiance, even the purple star itself dimmed considerably. I immediately performed calculations. To my astonishment, the results revealed that someone not of this era had appeared in this time, and this person held the potential to rewrite the destiny of the great Qin dynasty. At this point, consort Jean paused. She looked at me strangely, and after a moment, she continued. Initially, I thought my calculations were flawed. After all, my study of divination and astrology is relatively recent, and the Celestial Phenomena Bureau constantly monitors the heavens. Should any anomaly arise, they would report it to His Majesty. Yet strangely, the Bureau remained silent. I began to suspect my calculations might indeed be flawed. That is, until Henger came to me today and shared his dream. Combined with your sudden, unusual decision 3 years ago to become one of His Majesty's consorts, I realized my calculations were correct. The one who never returned from the future, that person is you. Consort Jean, I. Consort Jean patted my hand, signaling for me to listen first. I have witnessed many who sought to alter their fate, only to be consumed by it in the end. I do not know how you managed this. But His Majesty is an emperor, a man of heaven's mandate. You are defying heaven, child. This path is treacherous. Consort Jean, since Zhao Heng has told you everything, you must know about Xuan. I know. He is my grandson, though we never met. I could see the sadness in consort Jin's eyes. Yet, since Xuan and the present-day consort Jean had never shared a moment together, it remained merely sorrow. Consort Jean, I had no choice. Because my Xuan, he cannot return. He cannot come back. Zhao Pingchuan pleaded with Lord Yan, begging for my mother to be granted a second chance.
Pingchuan was willing to be cast into the endless hells forever to atone for her sins. Back then, consumed by unrelenting hatred, I became a mindless vengeful spirit, bringing unrest to the mortal world. Under heaven's wrath, I was about to be utterly annihilated. It was Xuan who paid the price of eternal damnation in the Avicii hell to bring me back. I recounted calmly everything that happened after my death. My gaze settled on Zhao Heng's face as I spoke slowly. Zhao Heng, we can start over. But Pingchuan has no such chance. Emerging from consort Jin's chambers, I bid farewell to Zhao Heng. There was no lingering reluctance, only a quiet mutual gaze as we etched each other's features deep into our souls, so profoundly that they could never be forgotten. Only then did we turn away, heading in opposite directions. In the years that followed, Zhao Heng and I met rarely. He rose to prominence in the imperial court, achieving great things. Meanwhile, within the imperial harem, I busied myself cultivating connections and winning allegiances. Gradually, I amassed a network of useful contacts. Some owed me favors, others were purely transactional. In short, I had spies in every palace, and even a few agents within the imperial court. Days passed like this, one after another, until 7 years had slipped by. In the autumn of the 21st year of the Yuanjia era, the Prince of Anyang fell foul of the law. The emperor decreed his execution, and the princess consort of Anyang sought mercy within the palace. The emperor, consumed by fury over the prince's transgression, had declared that anyone pleading for the prince would share his punishment. Upon hearing this, the consorts of the various palaces dared not provoke his wrath. They either made excuses to the princess consort of Anyang or shut their doors to her, refusing to see her at all. Not a single soul in the entire palace was willing to intercede for the princess consort of Anyang. Finally, she came to me. I did not refuse her, but simply said I would do my best. The emperor never truly intended to execute the prince of Anyang. It had been a momentary outburst of anger, yet he now found himself unable to back down. When I interceded, the emperor hurled his inkstone and reprimanded me harshly. The entire palace learned of it. I had been scolded by the emperor for pleading the prince of Anyang's case. The very next day, the emperor found a pretext to pardon the prince of Anyang. After this incident, the princess consort of Anyang was profoundly grateful to me. She conveyed the prince's words. He owed me a favor and would repay it in due time. Following the emperor's rebuke, palace gossip swirled that consort Shui had fallen out of favor. Yet unbeknownst to all, the emperor secretly ordered a jade flask delivered to Chongqing Palace. Should friends in Luoyang inquire, a heart of ice resides within this jade flask. Your Highness, why did you intercede for the princess of Anyang? His Majesty is furious over the prince's offense. No one in the palace dares tempt fate. Why did you insist on wading into this mess? Afterward, Xuan remained perplexed. As I embroidered the emperor's nightgown, I explained to her. Prince Anyang is His Majesty's own flesh-and-blood younger brother. As long as it doesn't involve treason, no matter how great the calamity he causes, the emperor will never kill him. But Prince Anyang and his consort don't know this. My plea to the emperor was a gamble on precisely this point, giving His Majesty a way out while also granting Prince Anyang a favor, an immense favor. In the 23rd year of the Yuanjia era, 3 years before the witchcraft case of my previous life, a remarkable woman named Consort I arrived at court. The emperor favored her greatly. Compared to Consort Lu of that time, and even to myself now, she surpassed them all. Your Majesty, how long has it been since he last visited Chongqing Palace? Your Highness, the emperor has not set foot in Chongqing Palace for a month. My hand paused mid-braid as I drew a deep breath. For so long? Has His Majesty still been residing in Changel Palace? Yes, Your Highness. Xuan had been dismissed from the palace last year. The young palace maid now by my side was newly promoted. The closer the witchcraft case drew, the more uneasy my heart grew. Sending away those close to me offered some small measure of peace. Ever since Consort I entered the palace, the emperor's dissatisfaction with the crown prince had grown. He repeatedly berated him, and even Her Majesty the Empress had been scolded several times. A vague suspicion began to take root in my heart. Perhaps this was the beginning of the witchcraft case. I ordered my people to secretly monitor everyone who came into contact with Consort I, leaving no clue unexamined. I never imagined that before my spies uncovered anything, Consort I would fall from favor. For a time, I doubted myself. Had I misjudged? Could Consort I not be the one colluding with Shueli to frame the crown prince? If not her, then who? Yet within months, Consort I regained favor. In the autumn of the 24th year of the Yuanjia era, the emperor hunted in the Shangling garden. Suddenly, a fierce tiger burst forth from nowhere, its gaping maw lunging toward the emperor. At the critical moment, Consort I rushed forward, shielding the emperor with her body. Strangely enough, the tiger did not bite down. Instead, it opened its mouth wide as if to roar, only to be struck down by 3 arrows fired simultaneously by the dragon scale guards. What a fitting parallel, Consort I emulating Consort Fang's act of shielding the emperor from a bear. Listening to the eunuch's account, I surmised Consort I must have applied a sneeze-inducing scent to her body. That brief moment was enough for the dragon scale guards to slay the beast. Consort I regained favor. The emperor stayed at Changel Palace for 3 days and nights, soothing the frightened Consort I. 3 months later, news spread from Changel Palace that Consort I was with child. The emperor rejoiced greatly and bestowed rewards upon the entire harem. 6 months later, Consort I gave birth to a son. The emperor named him Zhao Bai, and Consort I was elevated to the rank of consort, receiving the title consortly. The emperor adored the son of Consort I, even carrying the infant prince to court sessions. I suspect it was during this time that Consort Xuan began harboring ill-advised ambitions. My spies reported that Xueli, chief of the Astronomical Bureau, had been making frequent visits to Qixia Palace. It was now winter of the 25th year of the Yuanjia era. With only 1 year remaining until the witchcraft case erupted in my previous life, my time was running short. I began ordering the collection of evidence that could crush both Xueli and Consort Xuan. Simultaneously, I visited the Empress's palace every few days, instilling in her that no matter what happened, preserving her life was the paramount priority. She must never confront danger head-on. I didn't know if the Empress had taken my words to heart, but my constant reminders would surely prove useful in some way. A month before the witchcraft scandal erupted, the Emperor suddenly paid a visit to Chongqing Palace. I hurriedly received him and attended to his needs. Afterward, as we lay in bed, he spoke at length about Consort Xuan and the young prince. Consort Xuan is perfect in every way, her beauty captivates the city, and she is gentle and kind. But she constantly pressures me to name her son as crown prince. Is deposing and appointing a crown prince something to be taken lightly? Your Majesty, could it be you truly wish to appoint a new crown prince? Xing'er is indeed too weak. He bears no resemblance to an heir apparent. I wanted to ask more, but the Emperor had already fallen asleep. I could only swallow my questions whole. On the 15th day of the 12th lunar month in the 26th year of the Yuanjia era, the very same day as in my previous life, the witchcraft case erupted. Unlike my past existence, however, the Empress and Princess Jingyang did not stage a coup. Nor did the crown prince flee. Instead, he went to Qinggan Palace to weep and lament his wrongful accusation. I ordered men to capture Xueli on his way into the palace to falsely accuse the crown prince. Xueli, bound hand and foot, was brought into the Chongqing Palace. I looked down upon him from above, as if observing a lamb awaiting slaughter. Xueli, confess your conspiracy with Consort Xuanli, and this palace might spare your life. The phoenix feather guards tore the cloth gag from Xueli's mouth. The moment his mouth was freed, he began cursing viciously. Does Empress Dowager Cui know the crime of kidnapping an imperial official? I may not know the crime of kidnapping an imperial official, but I know the crime of framing the crown prince and sowing chaos within the palace. I clapped my hands. A middle-aged woman and a boy of 7 or 8 were brought forward. Seeing this mother and son, Xueli's eyes bulged with fury. You wretch! Do not harm them, or I will haunt you even in death. Xueli, this child is the only offspring you will ever have in this life. I drew the sword of the phoenix feather guard and pressed it against the boy's throat. His face drained of color, while Xueli bowed his head repeatedly, begging for mercy. Empress Cui, I'll tell you everything. I'll confess anything. Please spare them. In my previous life, I could never fathom why Xueli would frame the crown prince. Only now did I understand the reason. Xueli was treacherous and cunning, with a narrow-minded disposition. The crown prince held him in utter contempt, and Xueli had once offended the crown prince over certain matters. Believing the emperor now favored him and the crown prince dared not touch him, Xueli feared that if the crown prince ascended the throne, he would surely seek revenge. Thus, he resolved to strike first. When Xueli's testimony was presented before the emperor's straight back suddenly bent. Xueli's words made the emperor's orders to arrest the crown prince and besiege Weiyang Palace seem like a joke, a colossal joke. Consort Xuanli died, poisoned by a cup of venomous wine in the cold palace. Xueli was executed by dismemberment in the marketplace. His Royal Highness the Crown Prince was demoted to a regional prince and exiled to Nanyue, with the Empress accompanying him. Before her departure, she entrusted me with the Fengling Guard's token. Thus, in the winter of the 26th year of the Yuanjia era, the witchcraft case came to an end. In my previous life, the witchcraft case had far-reaching consequences, nearly purging half the imperial court. The talented members of the Crown Prince's faction were slaughtered to the last man, while my rebirth rendered this catastrophe invisible. Initially, I believed the chief culprits were Consort Xuanli, who framed the Crown Prince, and Xueli, the chief of the Astrological Bureau. Only now do I realize the true mastermind was the emperor himself. His dissatisfaction with the Crown Prince, his distrust of the imperial in-laws, and his relentless indulgence of treacherous courtiers ultimately brewed this tragic calamity. In the end, the Crown Prince perished, the Empress passed away, and our entire Xian Wangfu family lost our lives. Yet behind all this, what truly caused such an outcome? It was power, supreme, absolute power, the power to grant life and take it away. Power, truly a wonderful thing. After ordering consort Xuan Li's execution, the emperor aged visibly overnight. His temples turned completely white. He became obsessed with alchemy, frequently compelling the Taoist master Wang to concoct elixirs for him in pursuit of immortality. The emperor never appointed another empress. Instead, consort Xuan, the highest-ranking consort, assumed the duties of the Phoenix Seal. I cannot pinpoint when it began, whether it was after moving to consort Lu's quarters, or after doing a favor for Prince Anyang, or perhaps the moment consort Xuan and Shueli were executed. Suddenly, I yearned for a child who could elevate my status. I employed certain means to lure the emperor to Chongqing Palace. When he arrived, I was reading the Song of Everlasting Sorrow. The emperor asked me with keen interest, "Inger, if you were consort Yang, would you choose to be the princess consort of Prince Shou, or would you choose to be Emperor Xuanzong's consort?" But Inger is not consort Yang. Consort Yang had no choice, she could only be Emperor Xuanzong's consort. Inger is different. Inger has a choice. The emperor gazed at me meaningfully. All these years, I've harbored a lingering doubt. Why did Inger choose me back then? A monarch's suspicion endures, even after so many years. I smiled faintly. Inger's answer remains the same. I admired your majesty. Inger, bear me a child. The emperor swept me into his arms and carried me toward the soft couch. The night was perfect, filled with endless passion. He departed in the wee hours. As soon as he left, I had hot water prepared and bathed thoroughly, cleansing myself inside and out. Soaking in the tub with my eyes closed, a pair of strong hands rested on my shoulders. His familiar scent enveloped me. "Zhao Heng, give me a child." Zhao Heng said nothing, lifting me out of the tub. In the 32nd year of the Yuanjia era, I gave birth to a son. The emperor named him Zhao Yan. That same year, I was elevated to empress and moved to Weiyang Palace. Riding my coattails, the Chui clan grew increasingly powerful in the court, becoming a formidable presence akin to the He family. From the day I became empress, the emperor never once favored me again. He spent his days locked in the alchemy chamber with the celestial master Wang, concocting elixirs, his temper growing ever more erratic. His adult sons, some he had killed, others exiled, until only the sickly Zhao Bai, Prince Xian, Prince Jin, and the 2 sons of consort Kai and myself remained, 2 boys not yet 5 years old. In the 9th month of the 37th year of the Yuanjia era, the emperor, already terminally ill, suddenly conceived the whim of touring the great Qing realm. I accompanied him, along with consort Wei, formerly consort Wei. Throughout the journey, the emperor remained deeply preoccupied. I paid him no mind, content to admire the scenery with consort Wei. When the imperial procession reached the Yuliang Summer Palace, the emperor decreed we would remain there for 10 days. On the 2nd day, he summoned me to the Gongquan Hall within the palace. "Empress," he said, "I wish to name Yenner as crown prince. What is your opinion?" "Your servant has no objection," I replied. However, he continued, "there is one essential condition for Yenner to become crown prince." "What condition?" "The son ascends, the mother dies. The Chui clan holds great power, and with you, the empress, still alive, it poses a tremendous threat to Yan. Empress, are you willing to die for your son?" I looked at this cunning, calculating man before me and burst out laughing. "This palace is unwilling." "What did you say?" The emperor's brows furrowed tightly, his eyes widening in shock. But this time, I would not smooth the crease between his brows. I said, "I refuse. Your Majesty, you are not Emperor Wu of Han, and I am not consort Gui. This tactic of using a child to threaten a mother holds no sway over me. Besides, Yin Yan is not my biological son. What does his life or death matter to me? Your Majesty, you are unaware that my true son is the young heir of the Prince of Xian's mansion, the child born to me and Prince Xian, Zhao Heng. Cui Yiying. You wretched woman." The emperor's face turned ashen with rage. He struggled to his feet, reaching to strangle me, but I gave him a light push, sending him crashing back down. Years of poisonous elixirs had long since ruined his body. He was merely clinging to life now, which was precisely why he wanted to kill me so quickly. But now, lacking the strength to kill me, he resorted to threatening me with yen, forcing me to take my own life. What he didn't know was that after giving birth, I had sent my true son to the Xuan prince's residence, falsely claiming he was born to one of the prince's concubines. That concubine was subsequently elevated to the position of the Xuan prince's secondary consort. The child left with me was merely an infant I had found among beggars. Master Wang, use my token to summon the Phoenix Feather Guards. Seal off the Jade Beam Palace. No one is to enter or exit without permission. The emperor's condition deteriorated rapidly after my outburst. His exhalations now far outnumbered his inhalations. Your Majesty, unexpected, wasn't it? Grand Master Wang is my man. Oh, I forgot to mention, this palace has never coveted the Empress Dowager's position. The Zhao family's realm will soon bear the surname Cui. I departed Gongquan Hall. Not long after, the eunuchs attending there came to report, the emperor had passed away. As empress and the sole person by his side at his final moments, I naturally knew the contents of the emperor's will. After escorting his coffin back to the capital, I summoned the princes of the imperial clan, Prince Anyang, Prince Jin, Prince Xian, along with the chancellor and other ministers in my capacity as empress to read the will. The ninth Prince Fu, whose filial piety moves the heavens, was born with innate virtue. Having undergone years of guidance and nurturing, he is well versed in state affairs. All officials, ministers, and nobles shall conduct funeral rites and subsequent arrangements without deviating from my will. After the deathbed ceremony, the burial shall take place within 7 days. As the imperial lineage must have a ruler, the ninth prince shall ascend the throne before the coffin. After the will was read, none raised objections except Prince Jin. Prince Xian Zhaoheng always prioritized me, and Prince Anyang owes me a favor. As for the Chancellor, I had already discussed matters privately with him. Chancellor Shangguan, you have only 3 daughters in your household. Your nephews and cousins from the same clan are all mediocre and incompetent. The Shangguan family relies entirely on you. Once you pass away, there will be no one to carry on in the court. The Shangguan clan will fade into obscurity. Are you content with that? The Chancellor tugged at his snow-white beard, snorting indignantly, then your Majesty need not trouble herself. This old man will teach those good-for-nothing nephews and sons to become capable men, even if I have to force it. But rotten wood cannot be carved. Chancellor, you would do better to nurture your own daughters. I hear your eldest daughter's literary fame spreads far and wide, her policy essays rival those of the newly crowned top scholar. If you support this palace, I shall grant women across the land the chance to serve in court. Would that not ensure your legacy endures? The Chancellor hesitated. He was tempted. He asked me, what does your Majesty require of this old man? Before the late Emperor's spirit tablet, I looked at the Chancellor. The old man, visibly uncomfortable, stroked his beard and declared, since none of you object, let the 8th prince ascend the throne immediately. In the 10th month of the 37th year of the Yuanjia era, Prince Yan, Zhao Bai, ascended the throne. He established the Yongding era name. As the late emperor's empress, I was honored as Empress Dowager, with the title Chongqing. Zhao Bai's birth mother was posthumously honored as Empress Dowager Chongming. After the new emperor's accession, I moved from the Palace of Eternal Peace to the Palace of Everlasting Trust. The powers of the empress were transferred to the new emperor's consort, yet I retained firm control over the Phoenix Feather Guard. Zhao Yan, my son with the late emperor, passed away from illness in the 2nd month after Zhao Bai's ascension. Deeply grieved, I summoned Prince Xian, who began visiting the Palace of Everlasting Trust daily with his heir, Prince Pingzhou, to comfort me. Perhaps due to the innate bond between mother and child, Pingzhou adored me. He often sat on the swing beneath the grape arbor in Chongqing Palace, listening to my stories. Each time I saw Pingzhou, I glimpsed traces of Chuaner in him. Yet I knew Pingzhou was Pingzhou, and Chuaner was Chuaner. No matter how much I longed for Chuaner, I could not confuse the two, it would be unfair to Pingzhou. In the blink of an eye, a year had passed since the emperor ascended the throne. The empress had yet to conceive. At the beginning of the year, new beauties were selected for the harem, but even after 7 or 8 months, none had become pregnant. Perhaps it was related to the emperor's poor health. I lived a leisurely life of retirement in Changxin Palace, rarely concerning myself with court affairs. Yet within my heart, something was stirring, poised to break through the surface. Though I did not manage state affairs, many ministers in the court remained loyal to me. The emperor's decrees and the movements within the court were all known to me. As court affairs grew increasingly burdensome and the emperor's health deteriorated further, he had even coughed up blood recently. The empress, being the daughter of a minor official, was accustomed only to managing household affairs and needlework. With no other choice, the emperor requested that I take charge of the court, with the Prince of Anyang and the Prince of Xuan serving as regents. After all, during the late emperor's final years, he was obsessed with alchemical elixirs, leaving most court affairs to me, the empress, to handle. During the emperor's convalescence, I exercised imperial authority, managing court affairs with great skill. I relished sitting upon the dragon throne, observing the entire court of ministers bowing before me. I relished this, the absolute power, the authority over life and death. Day after day, my ambition and desire grew ever stronger. In the 3rd month of the 2nd year of Yongding, the emperor suddenly fell into a coma. I summoned the senior ministers to the Changxin Palace to discuss the matter of appointing a new heir. With no sons of his own, the new heir could only be chosen from among the imperial clan. Some proposed Prince Jin, others advocated for Prince Xian, while still others suggested recalling the crown prince, who had been exiled to Nanyue. Seated behind the curtain, sipping cloud mist tea, I remained silent. Not a single word from these old men pleased my ears. Just then, the chancellor suddenly spoke up. Since we must appoint a new sovereign, why not Her Majesty the Empress Dowager? The old men, who had been arguing fiercely moments before, fell instantly silent. Soon, one of them reacted. But how could that be? How could the Empress Dowager become emperor? It violates the rules of propriety. Several ministers immediately echoed this objection, but the chancellor countered, why couldn't Her Majesty the Empress Dowager be emperor? Her Majesty has ruled in the court's name these past months, no worse than when the late emperor was alive. Indeed, she's done better than the current emperor. Ha! Rituals and propriety? They're made by men. If they're unreasonable, they can be changed. If rituals and propriety told you to eat shit, would you do it? The chancellor's words had barely left his lips when my ministers began to nod in agreement. But this is entirely different. Moreover, this empire belongs to the Zhao family. How can we allow someone of another clan to become emperor? As long as they are a wise ruler, what does it matter if they bear the surname Cui or Zhao? The Empress Dowager is a woman of the Zhao family. Having taken her husband's surname, she is still of the Zhao lineage. The two factions of old men argued endlessly. This was getting nowhere. I slammed my teacup down, and the room instantly fell silent. As for installing a new emperor, neither your opinions nor mine matter. Only the current emperor, through an official edict, can decide. Your Majesty is wise. When I arrived at Qinggan Palace, the emperor had just finished his medicine. He tried to rise to greet me, but I stopped him. Mother, forgive me. Your son is unwell and cannot perform the proper courtesies. Rest now. How could I blame you when your health is poor? I helped the emperor lie back against the soft pillows. Mother, did you come to see your son today for some particular reason? I feigned reproach. Can't a mother visit her son without a reason? But there is indeed one matter requiring the emperor's decision. Seeing my serious expression, the emperor grew solemn as well. Mother, please speak. I sighed, my face troubled. After court today, the chancellor and several high ministers cornered me in the Changxin Palace. I paused, gauging the emperor's expression before continuing. They claimed they needed to discuss the succession. I came here to see you and to ask, what is your Majesty's view on this matter? The emperor's expression shifted slightly, but he quickly regained his composure. And what is your view, mother? I met the emperor's eyes, studying the subtle shifts in his expression. I am but a woman. What perspective could I possibly offer? Your Majesty, over the years, the late emperor's sons, some were killed, others exiled. Now, aside from you, only the son of consort.I remains. He is far too young, still too immature to hold the throne. In the court, your Majesty's uncles and elders are not easily controlled. They are like wolves encircling their prey. Could Kai Jieyu and her son truly hold sway over the government? They would likely be devoured alive by the princes and ministers. The emperor probed cautiously, but what of the Empress Dowager and the Chui clan? Your Majesty, I speak without fear of displeasing you. Were my son to ascend the throne, the Chui clan would rally its entire strength to support the new emperor, dedicating every ounce of effort and even sacrificing their lives for him. Alas, my son died long ago. Should Kai Jieyu's son ascend the throne, given her narrow-mindedness, she would only favor the Kai clan while suppressing other aristocratic families. Moreover, how could the Chui clan possibly support an emperor not born to a Chui woman? Then what does Mother Empress suggest? The emperor watched me cautiously, while I gazed at him with ambition burning in my eyes. Your Majesty, abdicate the throne to me. The emperor paled in shock. Mother, are you jesting? Your Majesty, I am quite serious. The emperor roared in fury, Mother. I rose and paced the chamber. Once, I too had been a frequent guest in Qinggan Palace. Every blade of grass, every tree, every brick and tile here was etched into my memory. Changxin Palace may be splendid, but how could it compare to Qinggan Palace? I turned to look at the emperor, observing his heaving chest, and spoke softly, Your Majesty, I shall be frank with you. Throughout the court, among the civil and military officials, most are loyal to me. I merely seek a legitimate opportunity. I shall share another tale from the past with you. Hearing it may ease your mind somewhat. I recounted my entire history with Zhao Heng to Zhao Fu, including the child we bore together, Prince Xian, the Crown Prince Zhao Pingzhou. The emperor seemed to believe it, yet also seemed skeptical. But at this moment, he had no other choice. Is what you say true, Mother? Every word is true. I am a woman of the Zhao house. After my death, I shall be buried in the Zhao Imperial Mausoleum, where Zhao descendants will honor my memory. Why would I pass the throne to a nephew, skipping my own son? Mother, you hated my father so deeply. How can I trust your words? I do hate your father, Your Majesty, but I also hate the Chui family. Had they not confined me within these palace walls, my life might have unfolded quite differently. I swear upon my life, Your Majesty, that I shall restore the throne to the Zhao descendants. Should I break this oath, may I die a short death, and may the Chui clan be cursed to die out within 100 years. The emperor remained silent for a long while, seemingly gathering resolve. He fixed his gaze upon me, his eyes holding something I could not fathom. Very well. Your Majesty trusts the Empress Dowager. Tomorrow, I shall draft the abdication edict and proclaim it at court. I shall relinquish the throne to you. I wish that tomorrow, before all your subjects, you shall publicly reaffirm the oath you made today. Very well, I agree. After receiving my promise, he collapsed onto the bed as if drained of strength, murmuring to himself. It seemed he was asking me, yet also questioning himself. Why must one insist on being emperor? Being Empress Dowager is equally exalted, yet one need not concern oneself with state affairs. Is that not better? Your Majesty, one who stands too long at the pinnacle is inevitably swept away by power and ambition, losing sight of oneself. How could the authority of an Empress Dowager ever compare to that of an emperor? The next day, in the imperial court, Zhao Fu issued an edict announcing his abdication. Before the assembled ministers, I solemnly took the oath. In the second year of Yongding, Zhao Fu stepped down, abdicating the throne to Empress Dowager Cui. The era name was changed to Yuanjin. Thus, the first empress in the history of the Great Qing dynasty emerged. Regarding my ascension, voices abounded throughout the court, the harem, and the common people. Some welcomed it, some questioned it, some were indifferent. In any case, a cacophony of opinions reached my ears daily. I paid them no mind. The merits and faults of my life, the affairs after my death, these would be judged by posterity. My sole focus was on the tasks before me, to carve out a realm of my own. For 21 years, the Empress reigned over a land of peace and prosperity, where the seas were calm and rivers clear, and the seasons brought abundant harvests. She governed diligently, cherished her people, embraced capable advisors, and encouraged open discourse. During her reign, she implemented policies that benefited both the nation and its citizens, such as expanding water conservancy projects and reducing taxes. She also established free schools, enabling children from impoverished families to learn to read and write. Furthermore, she founded academies for women, permitting them to take the imperial examinations and enter government service. The empress ushered in a new era, laying the foundation for the enduring prosperity of the Yongchang dynasty. Extra Chapter 1, the 7th month of the first year of Yuanzhen. In the year following my ascension, Zhao Bai passed away. He died peacefully in the empress's arms. I feel a sense of guilt toward him. Had I not elevated him to the throne, might he have lived longer? The late emperor had only one empress. She requested to go to the imperial mausoleum to keep vigil over his remains, and I granted her permission. The 4th month of the 2nd year of Yuanzhen. Numerous matters demanded attention: court affairs, the welfare of the people, and the imperial harem. Arrangements also needed to be made for the late Emperor Li's consorts. Those willing to remain in the palace were sent to Changxun Palace to live out their days, while those unwilling were given a sum of silver and escorted out of the palace to retire elsewhere. September, the 4th year of Yuanzhen. Prince Jingyang plotted rebellion. Prince Xuan and General Hui Yan led troops to suppress the uprising, trapping Prince Jinyang in Shuzhou. After months of siege, realizing his cause was lost, Prince Jinyang took his own life beneath the walls of Shuzhou. During the army's return to the capital, Prince Xuancheng Zhaoheng contracted the epidemic and remained outside the city for treatment. I changed into plain clothes to visit him outside the city walls. We stood silently across the fence, neither of us speaking. Before leaving, I told Zhaoheng, "You must hold on. When you recover, I will take you as my imperial consort." He smiled and agreed. This was the last time I saw Zhaoheng. In the 11th month of the 4th year of Yuanzhen, Prince Xuancheng Zhaoheng passed away outside the city. Those who died from the epidemic could not be buried, their remains must be cremated. I hid Zhaoheng's ashes in my bedchamber. When my time comes, he will be buried with me. January, the 5th year of Yuanzhen. Years ago, I brought Pingzhou and his nominal mother, Zhaoheng's secondary consort, into the palace. Pingzhou no longer showed me the closeness of his youth. Each time he saw me, he would respectfully address me as imperial grandmother. Truthfully, I longed to hear him call me mother consort. In the 5th month, after invoking heaven, earth, and our ancestors, I formally designated Pingzhou as crown prince. This fulfilled the vow I made to Zhao Fu, and at last, he need not haunt my dreams night after night to remind me. The 5th month of the 6th year of Yuanzhen. While admiring flowers in the imperial gardens, the attendant palace maid suddenly pointed toward the distance and said to me, "Your Majesty, look over there. That person seems to be His Royal Highness the Crown Prince." Standing in the pavilion, I gazed at the distant corridor bridge. Separated by the water, I gazed at Zhao Pingzhou from afar. In a daze, I felt as though I were seeing the 15-year-old Zhaoheng. 12th year of Yuanzhen, 12th month. Sometimes I find myself wondering, if Zhaoheng hadn't supported me during the struggle for the throne, if he had challenged me instead, what would I have done? The moment this thought surfaces, it clings to me like a nightmare. I dare not dwell on it, for a voice whispers, "Stop thinking about it. That won't be the answer you want." 17th year of Yuanzhen, 7th month. The Crown Prince of Dingnan sent word of his passing. The former Crown Prince, now the Prince of Dingnan, had died. In my memory, the Crown Prince remains forever young. When the Emperor demoted him to a regional prince and exiled him to the southern provinces, he was barely 30. Now, 30 years have slipped by, and he never returned to his homeland. I issued an edict to the Crown Prince of Dingnan, ordering him to bring the coffin back to the capital for a grand funeral with the honors due a royal prince. The 12th month of the 21st year of Yuanzhen. This winter, peach blossoms bloomed within the palace walls. People deemed it an ominous sign. Crown Prince Pingzhou sought to cut down every flowering peach tree, but I stopped him. If it truly was an ill omen, what good would cutting them do? Better to simply appreciate their beauty. After the new year, my health deteriorated rapidly. Reading just a few pages of memorials left me utterly exhausted. Perhaps the strange phenomenon of winter-blooming peach blossoms had reflected itself upon me. "Mother, mother, it's me, Pingchuan." Dazed, I opened my eyes. Seeing the figure before me, tears streamed down my face. "Chuaner, my Chuaner, is it truly you?" "Mother, it is I. The great Emperor of Fendu, moved by my filial devotion, has pardoned my sins. I now serve in Fendu, overseeing the cycle of reincarnation. Your earthly life has come to an end, Mother. I have come to reunite you with Father. Mother, I committed many wrongs and harmed many people. But you also did much good. You were a good emperor. Your merits and faults balance each other. In your next life, you will be an ordinary person. I wiped my tears, wanting to say more to Xuan, but his figure grew ever more distant. Xuan. Mother, at the 3rd hour of the afternoon 2 days hence, your son shall come for you. Your Majesty. Your Majesty. It is time for court. I jolted awake from my dream. Xuan was not before my eyes, only several bustling palace maids. Ever since dreaming of Xuan, my spirits had lifted greatly. I knew this was a final burst of energy before the end. It was time to arrange my final affairs. I wrote the edict transferring the throne to Xuan and entrusted it to the Prince of Anyang. I trusted him. He had played a significant role when I ascended the throne years ago. After settling all matters, the Prince of Anyang and I played chess at the Rainflower Terrace. Yet after only half a cup of tea's time, my eyelids grew heavier and heavier. The chess piece in my hand fell onto the board as my arm went limp. In the 2nd month of the 22nd year of Yuanjin, Empress Cui Ying passed away at Yuatai. In the 3rd month of the same year, the new emperor ascended the throne and changed the era name to Yongchang. Official histories record that the new emperor's first imperial decree was to have the empress's coffin interred in the imperial mausoleum alongside Emperor Xinglai. Yet unofficial histories claim only an empty coffin was placed in Emperor Lai's tomb. The empress's true coffin, it is said, was buried alongside the new emperor's biological father, Prince Xuancheng Zhaoheng. Official histories and unofficial accounts, truth and fiction intertwined. What is the true story? Who can say? The end.